Eric is a very loving person, first of all. I'm very emotional, but I'm also very understanding at a certain point. I am not short-tempered. I am also very, very inquisitive. I'm an overthinker. I'm a party goer. I love music. I love movies. Oh man, I love men. I'm purely gay, and sometimes I wonder, oh, will it turn it down? But no, I mean, no. The truth is, I am very much of an overthinker. That literally can round up myself. Yeah. I never really take small words for granted or small actions. I tend to make meaning of everything by everyone. A lot of people want to term it as sensitive, but I mean, I'm just me. I think it will be the overthinking part. A lot of people definitely realize that immediately. I never take subtle words subtle. I think they're the most loudest of all. So every time someone makes a comment or someone says something, it has to carry meaning with it in most cases. So I think that's one of the biggest traits that people realize about me. Depending on the moods that you find me, I'll be very, 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 very welcoming and very happy. And then sometimes you'll find me when I'm just in those moods of being serious and I just want to get along with everything, get done. Yeah. So I grew up in Entebbe, the place called Chitoro. That was like my childhood place with my grandmother, very loving human. The most of the memories I have when I was a child, one, I never really thought that my mom is my mom. I thought my sister to my mom was my mom. And then later in life, they introduced me to my mom. And like, oh, so it was kind of a weird relationship. But anyway, that's life. I love my grandmother so much. She's still alive. She was like the entire figure, father, mother, everything. One of the things I also remember is that I used to be I'm a constant person. I think that also we can add to my traits. I love constant things. It has come out through my adulthood. I've seen that I do same things or similar things that I'm used to. And because while I was growing up, I didn't really change schools. I was in the same school for primary, the same school for high school, and in the same school for campus. I never really was this person who was getting expelled or anything. So I think some people would say I was a good boy. I had a character that a lot of people used to identify me with. I was a very, very girly person. And I used to be called girl boy. You know, now because I was in the same school for 7 years, these people I was with, there were some people that we continued from primary 1 up to P7, they were used to me. So being girly was not new to them. Even though they called me the name really didn't disturb me that much. Because now I've gotten used to these people and it's okay. I think the story then changed when I crossed over to high school, and now I have seen a lot of new people, and now it became a problem because just the person you've met immediately realizes that you're girly. So in senior 1, and I had a very, very smooth voice, so everyone was like, hey, Mkazi Musaja, what's up? And it really disturbed my mind, disturbed me. So my grandmother had a dressing mirror at home, and I had to go back home. For that first time, I had to go back home every day to make sure I speak like a man. Every time I could say my name as Eric, I had to change it back and be like Eric. Now the funny thing about that is that every time I tried to be so much like a man, I now started loving men even more. So there was progress. I think after like 3 months, I realized that I was more manly, masculine presenting, even the way I speak, and people appreciated that. It is funny what we do to just be appreciated by people around us. They started saying, oh, even the people who probably crossed with me from primary, they were surprised to this new Eric who's now more manly. I remember one time there was this, do you know shot put? That cut heavy thing. So one time I was lifting it and I was throwing it. We were practicing for the inter-house competition at school. And this boy who knew me from my primary school I was like, oh, your mukazi msaja agenda kanyogachi. Like, what is the girl boy going to throw? So instead of me throwing the shot put to the other direction, I threw it to him because I felt like it was disrespect. I was very angry for calling me that again because I've been fighting to just get out of there. And this person, just because they know me, they want to take me back there. But I felt like even that was not enough. I became violent. I went ahead and fought this boy again. Even when I had just thrown the shot put to him, it didn't hit him in a. It just hit a small toe, but I felt like that wasn't enough. I was like, so I was very angry for the way people were treating me, but the fact that I feel like I made progress and someone's putting me back there. I wasn't expelled, but we were suspended, both of us. And yeah, after a week, we had to bring our parents. Anyway, long story short, I think I started dating around 2012. That is my senior two. I went to Facebook, and I had just watched Matrix. And I loved a name called Neo, the other guy from Matrix. So I called myself Eric Neo. For real, the first time it was like a fake profile. And I didn't really understand. I could not put words to my feelings of being gay and everything. So I just went to Google and I searched, how do they call a man who loves men? And gave me gay, and I just I wrote it in Facebook, and Facebook gave me results of people. So I added all of them. And you could imagine I got flocking messages. And I was just a young boy, but I had a very small phone. By that time, it was a Nokia Express Music. It was interesting because I didn't know these people, but I was very willing to explore. The first person I got who texted me, he was like, hi, how are you? What's your profile? Where are you? And I'm like, I'm in Chitoro. And I was like, I'm in Lugonjo. Now, for those who know Entebbe, like literally, it's like saying Tinda and the other person is maybe in Chiwatule. So it's literally like, whoa! But the problem, it was already night. I could not get out of home, but I was excited. I'm like, Wanange, Buchadi. When is it going to get? I'm like, I was talking to this guy for the entire time. I didn't even ask for photos. I didn't know who I was meeting. I was as excited as someone. Just, yeah, I have to meet this guy. But I was scared, of course. I'm like, now where should I meet this guy? I'm like, I'm going to meet him in a very public area. So, like, let us meet not in Lugonjo, not in Chitoro, but let us meet at Nachuogo, the landing site, just at the market side. So this guy comes. Now, you see, the challenge was I had fought to stop being girly. And the first person I meet, and we are in a public place, I was very much policing myself. I was like, what is going to happen? So immediately I changed the venue. I'm like, you know what, let us just go to your place. Because now I wasn't feeling safe meeting this guy in public. And as I was walking, I told him to walk a little bit distance from me. I knew that was my first time with a guy. We reached this guy's place. Things went on. I wasn't really experienced about anything. I was just learning. Funny enough, I don't remember that guy's face. I remember the name. I think I see him and I don't remember him right now. Because after that time, we didn't meet again. Never. Anyway, that like opened up my dating. I think dating is a bit polite word, but it opened up my zones. I started meeting a lot of people by that time because I just wanted to explore. I was just coming out of this shell. I was so excited. So a lot of men were sending me 5K, and by that time transport from Entebbe to Kampala was around 1,500 in a taxi. So instead of me going to school, my school was in Katavi, I was like, yeah, I could carry a sweater, put on the sweater, cover the uniform, meet the guy always either at Mega, Standard Supermarket, or at, what's that place called? Where ShopRite used to be? Yeah, ShopRite. So those were my meeting points. In a week I could meet like 3-4 guys. And they always know I was at school. I was a day scholar, so I had my freedom. So I traveled back and forth. In those people that I met, though, is when I met a certain person, whom I won't mention the name. I had gone to see my other grandmother, the sister of my grandmother in Entebbe. They were staying in Kachiri. I was supposed to stay there 2 weeks. The village got really boring. So I had to make an excuse to live here, but I didn't inform the people in Entebbe that I'm going. I'd gotten a progi. They're taking me to a bar for the first time. That is senior 3. So these guys, they told me to meet them, what's the place, in Mango. I was super excited again because now for the first time I'd never been with a lot of queers in one place. And they told me, now this bar we are taking you to, there are a lot of people who are like us and it's really exciting. I'm like, yeah, I have to go there. So I meet this guy. He takes me to where these people are living, and people are so happy there. They look like they were having the best of their time, because the conversations, the way they were referring to each other, and then they used to call me the the young one, because I was the youngest then within them. Funny enough, the guy who had called me was taking me. I had not met him, so when I saw him, I honestly didn't like him. Then I saw another one who was there. And I got excited with this one. Anyway, long story short, around 9, they're like, yeah, so I genda party. So like, yeah, where are we going? Where are we going? Where are we going? Like, yeah. I didn't know Kampala, honestly. I was seeing just lights. I remember now that I see Twali Mengo on Twitter now, but I swear I was just seeing lights by that time. The Twitter one day, long story short, ram. So I was very short on timing. So when I entered there, the bouncer was like, no. On Taina Jayengila, I was like, one day my world is crashing. I want to enter this place. What's in there? So this guy was known to the bouncer. Nebogeda. Then they allowed me in. I couldn't believe my eyes. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was like, Banangi, this is Uganda. And this is happening. First of all, I sit down and I was just looking. I was amazed. I was like, man, back over like this, people dancing together, man and man. Oh, it was shocking, very shocking to me. But you know, I adapt quickly. Within the next 30 minutes, I was also dancing. I was dancing. Now it was my chance to. Yeah, the guy had gotten the crush on. So this guy that brought me had started being dramatic. He was like, I bring you, you guys are going to pay me my transport. So they even told me not to go back with them. The guy was really pissed. Then we got drunk and we were able to sneak into the car, and then we went back to the place. But in the morning I had to go back to Entebbe now, because I had spent there a week, and I was like, I had to go back to Entebbe. So I did tell this guy where exactly I was staying, but I told him, when you reach in Entebbe, my home is just very near the park. So anytime you get, so at least I don't know that this guy had also fallen in love with me. So this guy, after 3 days I leave, this guy decides that he's going to look for me. He only had a phone number, but he didn't know where exactly I stay, or who I stay with, or anything. So he didn't even have transport, and he could not ask from this guy's transport to tell them that I'm going to see Eric. So he gets their woofer, sells it, gets transport, just get to Entebbe, Chitoro, call this guy. So he reaches there, and because my phones are off, I was at school. So he asks people around, and some random conductor guy comes right to our home and is like, this guy is looking for this and this. And so I was a little bit known in my village. So they're like, hey. So I see him and I'm shocked. And I'm like, banange bali wadduseeyo otya. Kati bali gye yavudde nga bantunoonya. That me, I inspired this boy to see the woofer and like tumukwatira Sunday Jaja Kram. He's coming to next Sunday. I swear. I think I went to Ram in January 2013. I never stepped a foot in Ram for that entire year because now this guy was with me and I knew the moment I step in Ram, I'm dead beat. So I started staying with this guy for that entire time. And one of the things that I remember is my grandmother had never chased any of my friends away. And even when this boy came, he was very much welcomed. So until then, my grandmother had never had a problem with me having friends over. And this boy was with me for that entire year. Anyway, I don't know what happened, but he also just disappeared, like the way he disappeared from the other people's house. So he just ran away also from mine and just left. I never really heard from him again until later in life. But that was like my first long-term boyfriend. And we're at home there. When I'm at school, I come back, the boy is there, he's helping out my grandmother. Things were a little bit not weird, but if you think about it harder, weird. So anyway, that is like my childhood, and moving on, there's been a lot of people, of course, I've seen, some long term, some small term. I would say that I've been heartbroken, I've broken some hearts, but all in all, I still believe in love. Well, I've learned to be more empathetic, to be honest. I learned to be more empathetic and understanding of what other people are going through. I'm not very quick to judge situations. I have an impulsive character though, to make quick decisions. But when it comes to more things that might look subtle, I don't really take them quickly. I want to understand what led this person to make this kind of decision and what situation they were in. Because sometimes it's not easy to be queer and see, sometimes people do not understand that your queerness really can define your life. Even though some people say, let your sexuality not define you. When your sexuality is kind of regarded as an abomination, you are literally every day strategizing on how to survive. And how to survive, it's seamless for a straight person or a heterosexual person to just live life normally because that's the norm. On the other hand, being queer, you've been brought up in this situation where you were never really exposed to other people who are queer. Now, later in your life, you get to know queer people, other queer people. You get excited. All of a sudden, it becomes part of you. You want to spend time with them, have always this conversation. It feels like a bubble. It feels like a life within a life. Because now you're yourself and you just want it to be your norm. How you speak with fellow queers is not the same way you speak with, Because for me, we have a tendency, you have code names. You have names that you call yourself even in public and no one's going to know. Maybe you are referring to a queer. I mean, I'll give you an example. My friends would probably kill me for this. Everyone in our circle is a girl. Everyone. Whether a woman, man, we don't care about your gender. You're a girl. So if you're queer, you are now a girl. So when we are probably citing someone and be like, and we are suspecting that person might be queer, like, "Coach man, you're a girl like a girl." Like, and I became like a girl, no. So basically, it's like, but that kind of language that you use is for you to feel safe. It's for you to feel comfortable with your people. So for me, my childhood has really shaped me. Because the trauma I went through from being bullied for being a girl boy, has taught me a lot, even when I get exposed, that I didn't have to do this. I didn't have to go through what I went through. But also, do you really have to impress a lot of people so that they can feel comfortable for not acting the way they are not expecting you to act? Anyway, I am confident that there is always a person who's going through something that I'm going through, or that I went through as a child. I mean, right now, information is there. People can access it a little bit quicker than they used to. But at the end of the day, the trauma that you go through as a child just lives on with you. I mean, personally, my attachment styles have never changed. I am first of all very fearful of abandonment. Sometimes it affects my relationship, because when I realize that maybe someone is not so much interested in me, even though it's just a slight sign, I tend to run away before I'm left. So I would rather live than being left. And then the kind of relationships that I seek in most cases as an individual, there is a pattern. Yeah, I tend to be this kind of a person who likes running after people than people running after me. In fact, running after me turns me off. So everyone who has tried to probably lobby me into being their baby, it has been very unsuccessful, because even when I have had a crush on that person, the moment they turn and they be like, oh, I tend to run away. But it's an attachment style I also learned while I'm a child, because my grandmother always taught us to be very independent. We are supposed to be the ones in the driving seat. So it's that kind, and my grandmother is that kind of a person. She's a very independent woman, and she doesn't even settle for less. So it kind of reels in my head even right now. Yeah. To tell you that, I have to tell you how I became a leader in this community. My story starts at RAM. So I spent a year without going to RAM, but I found courage to go back to RAM in 2015. Of course, I'm like, baliwa. Then, but I found them when I had moved on from they had moved on from everything. So 2015, I began to normally just go to RAM as another individual. But also 2015 is there I was starting campus, because I stopped at senior 4, then I had to go to do a certificate course. So I was starting school at YMCM. So during that period, I met a lot of people, and within those people that I met, basically, I dropped out first semester at YMCA. I dropped out. Then I started looking for jobs. So I started being a waiter at a certain restaurant in Gaba. It didn't really work out for me. I went here I went to Ntinda. I was a cashier at a crazy chicken restaurant there. Then I stopped going there. I was also working as a cleaner at another company called NMG. And that one I remember it very well, because the receptionist lady, I think she was at campus first year or so, she used to tell me to clean the toilets squeaky clean. I want them sparkling white. She comes like, Anyway, so by that time also, I was seeing someone, but I was not confident enough to reach out to them. But Sunday, always ram. So one Sunday, it was a Christmas of 2015, I see that guy, and this guy was selling sweets outside RAM, had a chat and was putting on sweets and everything and all that. So I come to party, and I realized, oh, this is the guy I've been crushing on social media, and he's here. So instead of entering Gram, I spent my entire time just having chats and conversation with this guy. I liked him so much, and I fell in love even. I had already even fallen in love. It was just stamping on it. Lucky enough, the guy also liked me, and we went home that day. Yeah, we went home that day, and I remember on the following day, Boxing Day, they were calling me back in Entebbe that, oh, where are you? Why did you sleep over? So I went back. But after that period, I just continued seeing this guy. Now, I'm not schooling, but I'm home. But I also was tired of these other jobs. So I dropped out of that cleaner job. I stay home. I started living some friends. Now, by that time, I was not really settled in any one home. I was really living off different people. John Grace, by that time, was a very good friend of mine, and John Grace was like my plug for where to sleep that week. It's like, actually, this guy has also said no. Hey, this guy. There were issues with sleeping in people's houses because some of them could want to take advantage. Some of them could just expect it. And when you say no, they're like, you need to get out of my house. So I literally slept in around 15 people's houses within just a small period. The final one was in Makerere, where when tomorrow is my birthday, I'm like, I have already saved us some money. It was February like this one, 16th, 2016. I'm very excited now. I invited some people around and all that. So we are cleaning the house, and these guys were staying together, and they were like, so Eric, tomorrow after your birthday, you need to leave. I was shocked because in the afternoon everything was okay. We are talking. What did I do wrong? They didn't give me that closure. Now, being my sensitive self, I canceled the party. I'm like, you know what? I just need to get out of this house even before. So again, with my guy that I had met in Christmas, we're just speaking and still just going, seeing him as like, can I come and stay over at your house because this and this has happened? He's like, oh, Eric, you're more than welcome. So I started staying with that guy, and this guy was a staunch Muslim. After some time, this guy brings another guy home, and he tells me that this guy also had so he just needs somewhere to stay. But things started to change while we were there. And while I was there, one of the things I learned from him is that because I was not employed and I was not going to school, he says like, why don't we just hawk? So during the night, Ram, we go hawk for the sweets. We sell the sweets at Ram. And then the other days, we hawk wristbands. So we had the nail wristbands and the rubber wristbands. And we could walk all over Kampala. Walk. One of the things I remember is a time came when he went out of that business. He started selling clothes in Owino, and I remained in the business. So I was the one hawking. I started that business when I was having a certain sandal I was wearing, and I didn't even buy another one. I was wearing that same sandal for the entire year, and it got a hole in, and I was just moving around. One of the hardest part of it was always meeting people that I was with at campus along the roads because I was moving. We were staying on Entebbe Road, Zana. So a day reaches, you decide, okay, today I walk up to Chibuye, and then from Chibuye I decide which road I take. Should I take Salama Road? Should I take up to Nansana? Or you're going to go to Nansana, so you have to pass through Mengo and all that. So it's every day it's just a walk. Or you take Gaba Road, depending. So you decide. Maybe when you're coming back, that's when you're bored. But when you're going to work, you have to move. It's the business. So things were also not going on home. They're not going on well. back home, because every time I could go back to work, I come back. Have you ever been in a situation where you come home and you find people in the house, they have been talking and chatting, the moment you enter, everything is, the mood changes, everyone. So things were like that for quite some time. So I was saving some money. I had saved it for like 4 months. And this guy that they had brought home was just home basically. This one goes to work. We know to work, I also go to work. This one stays home. So one time I hear this guy is bargaining for a phone, but I know this guy doesn't work. And my hunch was like, you need to check your money. So after 3 days I check my money, and I found 1,500. And the 1,000 had been torn apart, showing that someone was using a stick to get the money from the box. So when I told this guy, my boyfriend, like, I think someone saw my money, and we're just three in the house, and this guy doesn't work, but I had him bargaining for a phone. So it's like, okay, we shall talk together. So when they brought us together, this guy says, I don't know both of you so much because I have not grown up with both of you. But one thing I know for sure is that this guy is a Muslim and you're not. He's not capable of stealing. I was shocked. And of course the choir drama of, oh, how can you say they stole money in your house? He started crying. I was like, oh, this is gaslighting at its peak. Anyway, there and then I made a decision to leave. But I had to keep it down a little bit. That day I went to work, and in the evening when I came back, I found them not home. They told me they had gone to the mosque to pray. When I went to pick a key from them, because I had locked the house and they had not left the key with the neighbors, they were like, Kafili, you don't come to Toja kumuziki ngate tukoze chale. I was like, oh my God, this is just done. And in the morning, I leave all his stuff there, including that business, because I mean it was his and I was working. I pack and I'm like, I'm going home. It's like, oh, say hello to Jaja and everyone. And I'm like, yeah. So what time will be coming? Well, I'm like, no, coming back here. So I made a decision of never to step in his house. Even when he shifts, I will never step there. Because there was some trauma that was going on there. Good enough, when I went back home, my grandmother gave me some capital, and I started up a small business of selling second-hand clothes. So I put up a stall and all that. Long story short, I made some money from there, and I took myself back to school in 2017. So I went back to YMCA now, and I was doing a course that I really wanted. That was journalism and mass communication. I did it. I endured there. I became a leader at YMCA. I was at the guild. I was a little bit famous also, and still going to RAM, definitely. In fact, within that period, I met someone, and we started being together. And they were managers of RAM still, and at RAM, behind just RAM, there were actually houses where people stay. And this guy, because being managers and being the manager of the place, we started staying at RAM. So we're staying there at RAM and managing RAM, and RAM was the business. But I think they mismanaged it a little bit, and we had to leave. So within that process and me studying and all this, I was still meeting a lot of people, and people were seeing a lot of potential in me. I graduated. I graduated in 2020. But even before I graduated, they gave me an opportunity to serve in an organization, Let's Work Uganda. And of course, I know John Grace recommended my name, and that's how I enter activism now. I became a programs director at Let's Work Uganda. Now, through that journey, I get an opportunity to meet so many leaders, and showcase what I can offer and how I can serve my community. Fast forward, we get arrested get arrested by police. In 2019, actually, that's when he got arrested in November. Well, for starters, I was in a certain meeting and we had a group work, and there was this debate that sparkled between two activists. One who was seemingly coming from a young generation and another one coming from an older generation. So the young one was mentioning that the seasoned activists have not really done enough to support the young activists. And the response from the seasoned generation activists really inspired me. He mentioned that we are there, we have the skills and we are willing, but the challenge is that we cannot get you out of your comfort zone. You have to do that yourself. And from that day, I learned one thing, that if I need something and I know someone who is more experienced than me and they have that capacity to give it to me, they're not going to just assume that I need it. I have to go there and speak, be available, and that's how opportunities come. Now, the challenge is that some people will sit back and expect just everything to work in magic. Yeah, and if they do not get what they want, in most cases they get disappointed because they just expected things to just happen. But things don't just happen. You wake up, you intentionally seek for that knowledge, you intentionally seek for that person's advice and also the recognition and attention, and they get to recognize you. If I come to you today and I just speak to you about something, the next day you have an opportunity, I might be the first person to run to your mind, because as we are having this conversation, you probably discovered something that you didn't know about me. A lot of people want to be on the sidelines and they want to isolate themselves, but not really come forward and be like, okay, I'm available and this is what I can offer. Well, I categorically, to be honest, I was never even chased out of my grandmother's house. She was always very welcome for me to go back home. But when I came, I had made a decision to leave, and I didn't want to just go home when I'm not presenting anything. So even after all the challenges I went through, making decisions to do this more was coming very easy for me, because even my grandmother always encouraged us to work hard. So it came from that background. My grandmother, up to now, she's still a very hardworking person. And even all the children who are still at home, they're being brought up in that kind of life of hard work. So it was a very easy decision for me, honestly, because I really don't want to be very much of a dependent person, depending on other people for means of survival. I was there, and it wasn't really cut out for me. I had to get what I want by myself, work for it, and I enjoy it more if I work for it. Because at the end of the day, no one is going to come out and claim that what you're enjoying is because of them. But because of what you have done, your hard work, you get to enjoy that money better. You get to enjoy either you go relax or somewhere, because you know very well that you've worked for it. And for me, it was really a learning journey. A learning journey. If I did not meet that boy to help me go into street hawking, in street hawking I learned a lot. I learned to be very patient. There's one time when I was just coming from the work and I had made really some good profits on that day, so I decided to take a taxi. But as the taxi was just at Queen's Road, the Queen's roundabout by that time, my phone got snatched and the good day just turned upside down. But one of the things that I remember is the entire journey from there on Queensway up to Zana, the entire taxi was just speaking about the experiences of their phones getting snatched. And I had to be there, listen to everyone. Those who were judging, why was I holding the phone in the first place? Did I not know that in this place they don't hold the phone? But like, oh, I also stole my phone from there. So all those stories, they also made me learn that, oh, even when you're going through something, so you're not the first person. Everyone has experienced, someone somewhere has experienced that, and it's not going to be your last time. So I actually left, and because I had made some profits, instead of going home to cry, I went and I actually ate a very good meal on that day. I was like, this is not going to just be the bad day of it all. And at the end of the day, for you, if you fall, and you decide that that fall is going to define you forever, you need to get up, because no one's going to raise you. No one. As you know very well, someone will be burying just in the next, and in the next, will be burying here, and in the next corner, someone is celebrating a graduation, someone celebrating birth. So you know very well that the struggle that you're going through is individual. A lot of people that I met were schoolgoers, or they had already graduated. I remember even most of the people I was surrounding myself with, there were some who were doing their master's degree, and they were so young. And here I was, like a charity case. And that, I was like, no way, I have to add something. Because I know very well that I've tasted a life where I have not gone to school, and all the jobs I was getting, they were not getting me anywhere. The maximum I was being paid was 150,000 Uganda shillings. And people will judge you because of the papers that you present, or what can you really offer. They cannot even give you responsibility because they don't trust that you can execute it. And for me, because of the people I was being surrounded with who were really rigorous about themselves at school, I also had to employ myself, because I never want to be that queer person whom they say cannot even express themselves in English, or they cannot even reason or anything like that. I wanted to be a person whom they see that I have value, and it's not just surface value, it's not just the looks value, it is more than that. I'm smart, but I have to add this to myself. That every time I'm speaking, I can speak like, yeah, because I mean that's the world we're living in at the end of the day. If you do not put value to yourself, no one's going to put that value to yourself. It's just going to be you and calling people for the next meal. A lot of people will not take up those opportunities because maybe they feel like the school is not okay, or they want to be in a certain life that you are not really there. So when there are resources that have been provided, and you know, primary, you see, USE and UPE, I'm a product of that, honestly. And if queer people can take an advantage and stay there, no matter how harsh the conditions might be, you have to endure. You have to grow some thick skin at the end of the day and be like, you know what, I'm going to stay here. I was studying in an anime school, and I came out well. I didn't go to army. I am not a soldier. But also, I know I performed very, very well, and I was having the same education that people who were in private school were having, and we are competing for literally the same jobs, and we're in the same world. Some of them are successful or successful, depending on what life decision they're making. One thing I need to tell just the people out there, that what you did yesterday, or what you did before, or what you didn't do, is the reason that's why you are where you are. What you're doing now, though, or what you're not doing now, is going to define what you will be, or where you will be next year, or next time, or the next time you're thinking again of the same thing. Yeah.
When we look at your activism journey, you're among the people who are petitioning the Anti-Homosexuality Act. That journey, how did you arrive at that decision to say, I'm going to do this thing?
It was really a hard decision, to be honest. One, I was very scared. I had never sworn an affidavit before. So I really didn't know what it really means if I put this story and I present it to court and I have to sign on it, and I have to be present to court and they call my name and I stand up. I didn't know all that was going to happen. But one of the driving forces for me was that I don't believe that this law should be on the books of Uganda. I don't believe that just because of my existence, there should be a law that criminalizes that in itself. So I was driven by that force that, oh, there are other people who are actually also petitioning this case. I have to join them. I also have to learn, because for me, I believe in learning every day. I want to know how it's done, that the next time I am the one who is inspiring other people to actually be part of this, of a petition or something that similar to this. But at the end of the day, being part of something that is bigger than myself, if this Anti-Homosexuality Act is nullified tomorrow, it's not just me, Eric, as a petitioner who's going to gain. It's my community. It's those people who are unaware that the law actually affects them. It is a lot more than that. So, and also, I also want to be a leader who's building legacy. I want to be a leader who is part of something that is actually tangible and very, very important to this community. Because right now, our prayer in unison is that this law is nullified. And being part of that journey of nullifying this law is an honor, honestly. But also to inspire young leaders, because a lot of young leaders would not want to take up some spaces because they believe they are not built for them, or the spaces are not really welcoming to them. Just wanted to show them that you can actually be there. Because as a person, getting there, I had to be available. I had to give in my time. I had to be sure that I be part of the drafting processes. There were really hectic processes to draft those arguments, and all these professors and all these leaders are arguing in all this kind of English. And I always took them back, honestly. I always told them to pause a little bit. Please just rewind that tape. What did you mean exactly, and how can I contribute to this conversation? But being available is important, and making sure that you have that time to be there all the time. Some people don't want to be available in spaces. They want to be part of the space, but they just want their name to be there. What about your presence? What about your contribution? If you see an argument that you contributed at actually being cited either in the book or somewhere, you feel proud. And that takes time. Challenges already. I have fears that one, when my neighbors realize that I'm part of the petition, first of all, where I stay is near a church, and they've seen me several times on my face. They saw me one time on TV, and some lady approached me and was like, but the conversation did not go that deep. So the fear is already mostly around the backlash on if the law is nullified and people just target the petitioners who went to court. So I have that looming over my head. But also sometimes I fear that if the law is not nullified, what does that really mean for us? What does it mean for me who went to court? And others? It's a scary fear, honestly, because that's like, if I just want this to be done, and I stop being obligated to go to court, or when they call my name in court, every time the judge calls my name and I have to stand up and show my face, I'm like, ooh, who's watching? What are they thinking? Yeah. I love to be remembered as a person who touched a lot of people's life, because of my journey of being even supported by a lot of people, where to stay, how to become a leader, going back to school, everything. There were people there. I love to also lend that hand to a lot of queer people, especially because a lot of them do not have that kind of opportunity to be supported by a number of people. But if my hand can support where need be, and there is value that is added to this individual, that's his legacy, enough for me. But also, I want my name, if it's being talked about, to be talked about in a light where I stood up for something that was bigger than me. I stood up for for life, I stood up for human rights, I stood up for humanity, most importantly. And when people, I'm still alive, when people are just gossiping around about me, I would love that there is a person who's going to tell them you're wrong. This is what I know about him, and this is what he really is. Because I don't know, there are people who are going to see you from the sidelines, but there are those who are really going to know you, and they'll defend you even when you're not there.